ఏది okay, see, in your prescribed textbook starting with Python, Tony Gaddis, so what he has done is he has written all the GUI programs using classes. So you can write these GUI programs in two ways. So unfortunately, while framing the syllabus of Python, we did not include object-oriented programming into the Python. Why? Because we thought that Python object-oriented programming learning will be more apt with Java rather than with Python. So that's why we have included OOP with Java in your second semester. So we did not include object-oriented programming, classes, objects, all these concepts into the 2-1 syllabus. But in your prescribed textbook, he uses what we call as object-oriented programming. So shall we, if you want to follow the same book, so we should go with, so the second book, in the second book, it is different. They have discussed without using classes. But first book, that is Tony Gaddis, they have discussed, yeah, PPT. Yeah, what is the problem? So, okay. See, in the last class, we have discussed about the different types of packages that can be used for creating the GUI interfaces in an application. So Kinter is one of the most popular that what we call as packages for developing the GUI type of interfaces, and it is included into our syllabus. So apart from that, see, one of the specialities of this Kinter package is, so if you learn programming in this Kinter or using Kinter, apart from using Python, you can also use the same packages. These same packages are also available in Ruby and then Perl. These languages also support the same Kinter packages. So if you know how to develop GUI interfaces using Kinter, so in other languages also it is possible to use the same package, use the same code. So that is the advantage. So apart from Kinter, as we have discussed in the previous class, so Kiwi, so Qt, and then WX Python are the other packages. So one limitation or disadvantage of the Kinter package is, so even your IDEs, integrated development environment, they are also developed using, see, what is this IDE? IDE is a graphical user interface for editing your programs, for compiling and for the running. See, these IDEs are also developed using Kinter. So that's why sometimes the Python programs which are using Kinter packages, they don't run properly. That is, whatever output you are expecting, you may not see the same output when you use some IDEs. That is the disadvantage. But most of the times it will not happen, but sometimes we may face some difficulties with some IDEs. So when you run a program which uses Kinter package, so suppose if you are developing some GUI interfaces, GUI screens. So you may not see, you may not, suppose if you are using orange color, the same orange color may not appear in the output. Maybe you may see somewhat different color. So like that, some differences you may have, but ultimately this is one of the best packages and easiest packages to use. So how to use, we have seen import Kinter, and then first program also, you please try to recollect this logic, because the same logic we will be using in all the GUI programs which we write using Python. So what is the first statement? Import Kinter is the first statement. You have to import this package into your or into the programs wherein you want to use the GUI. So first you have to create what is the purpose of this? So window is equal to, so some authors in some books you see main, so main window. Some authors they write top, so window, top, main. So these are some of the commonly used variable names for creating the new window. See, whenever we want to use this GUI programming, one of the most important aspect that we need to remember is, so we need to have a container. So there are so many GUI widgets or GUI components that are available, like what we call as buttons, combo boxes, list boxes, text, labels. So these are various types of widgets. I'll explain each and every one. So for placing these widgets, we require a container. So this window, the highest level or the top level window that we are going to create in a GUI application, acts like the container for all other GUI widgets. So it will act like the container. So you know, when you open your Windows, just now we have seen the home screen. So that is the window wherein all the icons will be present. So that window will act like the container for other applications, for other GUI components or GUI elements. So first you have to create the highest level window or the top level window. That is the first statement. After that, now if you want to give some name for your window, so we are giving a name. So this is the output that you are going to see. So the name, whatever you have given, so this will appear on the top left corner. And then one of the most important thing that we need to remember is, so here what we have to do is, if you want to display some label in this window, otherwise if you omit this statement, only the window with this title will be displayed. Even if you omit this statement, only window will be displayed. By default, window will have minimize, maximize and close buttons with no functionality. It will not have any. So if you if you press on minimize button, it will not do anything. So you have to create functionality for these buttons, that we will do in the due course of time. So I want to add one label to this window. So this is how you have to add. So tkinter. So what is this tkinter? So tkinter is the name of the package. In that package, we are calling a graphic GUI element called label. So label, as we have discussed in the last class, is a static text. So you cannot modify it. Just when you want to display some name on the screen, you can use this label. So label, so where you want to display, so already we have created a window. So window is the container to which I want to add a label. So this is the container name. So actually this label takes two parameters. One is the container name wherein where this label is to be added, and the second parameter is the actual text that you want to display. Okay, so text is equal to, what is the text you want to display? Hello world. So this pack, see, we were discussing about what we call as layout managers, are, so in in Java we call them as layout managers, but in Python we call them as geometric managers. So what is this geometric manager? So when you are adding components to what we call as to a container, see, for example, if this is window, I want to add some labels. So in which orientation, in which direction, in which size you want to add these elements, GUI elements to the container. So for deciding this, we use these geometric managers or layout managers. So where you want to add. So whether I want to add this label here, top left, or I want to add in the, so here, or I want to add at the bottom, or I want to add here. So depending on where you want to add, you have to use different what we call as geometric managers. So one such geometric manager is your pack. So pack, what it does is it displays the given element, whatever GUI element, whether it is button, label, or something else, it will be displayed in the center of the top. So top center will be the alignment that will be used by this pack. Okay, we will see these geometric managers also in the due course of time. After that, so we want to display the main window in an infinite loop. So continuously I want to display. For that you have to invoke a predefined function called main loop. So include the Kinter package, create the main window, then add all the GUI components. So if you want to create some functionality for the GUI components, that also you need to do. In this we are not providing any event handling as we have discussed in the last class. So straight away we are just displaying a static label, and then so that's so your program will be displayed until you close it. So that is the output that you are going to see. So this is the first program we have written. So already I have explained that. Now we will continue this. Okay. See, as we have discussed in the last class, event driven, or sometimes it's also called as event programming. As we have discussed, GUI applications, they wait for the events to occur. So events is, so whenever user using some input device perform some event. So perform some event in the sense, say, mouse can generate 4 different types of events. So you can move the mouse, you can click the left mouse button, you can click the right mouse button, you can click the, scrolling is one, and then apart from that, so you can click left mouse button 2 times. So like this, so clicking left mouse button 2 times generates one event, one time one event, scrolling one, so moving the mouse will generate mouse movement event, like that. So whatever action user performs, accordingly some events will be raised in the system, or events will be generated in the system. So whenever an event occurs, so if you have written an event handler program in your GUI, so now immediately, say for example, if the left mouse button is clicked on button, say for example, assume that we have created a button in the window, okay, some button. So user brings the cursor using the mouse onto the button and clicks this button. So when this action is generated, so it raises an event called as button click. So whenever button click event is raised, say I want to provide some response, or this application needs to provide some response. Say for example, if this button color is blue, so when user clicks this button, I want to change the color of this button from blue to orange or blue to red. Now that code you have to write as event handler for button click. So whenever this button click is clicked, so what is the action or what is the response it has to provide? So if for that particular event, if you have written the event handling code, whenever that event occurs, automatically the event handling code will be generated and that gets executed, and it will provide response for that particular respective event. So that is how your GUI programs work. So on its own, your GUI program does not do anything. Whenever even a user performs some action, so accordingly, say for that action or for the event that is generated in response to that action, if you have written the event handler, then only that event handler code will be executed. If you are not interested, say for example, I am not interested in handling this button, so just leave that. So it will not provide it. So 100 times also, if user clicks this button, it will not provide any response. If I have written an event handler code, then accordingly, whatever code I have written in that event handler, that gets executed and provides response to the user. So now, say there may be hundreds of events that may be generated by the GUI components. So as a user, whatever responses your application has to provide to the user, for only those events, as a programmer, we need to write the event handlers. That is what you need to remember. Say, I want to handle the mouse button click. So what is the type of, so I'll, for this for this button click, I'll write the event handling code. So whenever this button is clicked by the user, immediately that response will appear before the user. So that is how we have to write the event-driven programs. Event-driven programs means, so first you have to create the GUI components. So you should know as a programmer what are the various types of events that are going to cause. So as I said, mouse can create 6 or 7 different types of events. Out of these events, for which events we want to provide the responses. Only for those events we need to provide the handlers. So that is how we have to write the programs. So moving on. Now, generally, as we were discussing about what we call as geometry manager or layout managers, so different languages, they use different terminology, textbooks also, because prior to Python, Java was more popular. So almost all the users of Python, they also know Java. The most popular term is layout manager rather than this geometry manager. Okay, geometry manager is specific to only Python, but layout manager you can use it with the Java also. So whatever it is, so now we will discuss about the layout managers. As I said, so when you want to create a user interface, say for example, you want to capture the user details from your application. So you are writing a college management application or a banking application or some railway reservation or flight reservation. So there you have to capture the details of the user. So you need to take what is the username, gender, and then age, address, and then some identity proof, something like Aadhaar number or something else. So when you want to capture all these details, so you want to create a user interface for accepting all these details from the user. So you see, in your final year, you have a subject called Human Computer Interface, HCI, so which talks about how to create attractive interfaces. See, so many applications, apps, mobile apps are there, web applications are there for the same purpose. See, some applications will become more popular and some applications they won't become popular. Why? See, one of the most important aspect of application building, IT application building is obviously the user interface. So when you create the user interfaces, it must be మీరు ముగ్గురు వచ్చి ఇక్కడ కూర్చోండి మీరే ఎంటైర్ బెంచ్ యూ కమ్ అండ్ సిట్ సెకండ్ లాస్ట్ మీరే ముగ్గురు వచ్చి ఇక్కడ ఓకే సో వాట్ ఈస్ దట్ graphical user interface, it should be easy to use. That is one aspect. And second thing is the colors that you use for the backgrounds, that the colors that you use for the graphical elements, all of them. Meere rande, come and sit here. It should be easy for the user to use, and the second one is it must be attractive to the user. You have to select the correct graphical user interface and you have to provide very good attractive colors. So it should be appealing to the users. Otherwise, if you use faded colors or very light colors and if the background color is not good, see, after using your application for one time, they will not be motivated to use it again because they may feel that, okay, it doesn't look good. This application is better so that is the perception of the users. So that's why. So one of the so in that subject you will study about which type of graphical user interface elements are available in various languages. So how to select the colors. So for which type of applications, which type of colors are suitable. All those things you study in that subject, human computer interfaces. So now here what I want to tell is, so you have to organize all these GUI widgets properly on the container. So for that we use these graphical or geometry managers. So geometry managers purpose is packing the GUI elements onto the container. So how to organize or how to align them or how to format them. So now I want to place a button. So what should be the dimension of the button? So what should be its length? What should be its breadth? What should be its height? So what is the label that I have to use? What should be the background color of this button, what should be the color of the label. So for deciding all these things, where should I place this button? Whether I want to place it on the top of the window or bottom or east or west or something like that. So maybe if you represent four so what we call as sides, so maybe east, west, north, south, something like that. So where I want to place that, or otherwise you can call them as top, bottom, so left and right, something like that. So where I want to place my GUI widget on the container. So for taking or for making these decisions, we use these geometry managers. So geometry managers, as so already we have used pack. So and apart from that, so packer or pack is one thing, and then apart from that, so another thing is we have another one which is known as grid. So grid is, so basically it arranges all the widgets on the container in the form of a matrix, in the form of a two-dimensional array, rows and columns. So you can create 3 rows and 3 columns, something like that. Say I want to place buttons like this. So maybe digits. So you can so you can arrange them in the form of a grid. Okay, like this. So this form is known as grid. So grid, you have to tell how many rows and how many columns you want to have on your window. So if I say 3 by 3, so 3 rows and 3 columns grid will be created, which allows us to place 9 GUI widgets. So if you want to place more than 9, I want to place 16 widgets. So 16 buttons. So you create a 4 by 4 grid. So like that, depending on the application, you have to use different types of geometry managers or layout managers. So we will see how to use them in the due course of time. Okay. So, so already we have discussed about the top level window. So first you have to import the Kinter package, that is mandatory. So all the GUI applications require one GUI package. So we are using the default package which is available with Python, so which is known as Kinter. So first after that, so you have to create an instance of this Kinter. So tkinter.tk. So you can, so as I said, 3 variables are more popular. So either you can use top or window or so main. So these are the 3 names that you can use. Okay. So this is the same program output we are showing here without that label. So this is how the, okay. Now listen to this discussion carefully. So these are some of the widgets that are supported by the Python. See, ultimately what you have to understand is, see, these are the components that are supported by the Windows or by the Linux operating systems. They are not provided by the Python or by the Java. So that is why you see, whether you write a program using Python or whether you write using Java, if you run those programs, GUI programs which are either written in Java or Python on a Windows environment, you'll see the application with the same look and feel. So same type of button, same type of label. So they will not. So you'll not see. Say maybe Linux environment button may be different from. I'll show one example also. Maybe different from Windows environment button. But if you create buttons either using Java or Python, you'll see the same look and feel for the button. Why? Because see, ultimately whether you use Java or Python, who is creating that button? Windows is creating, the underlying operating system, either Windows or Linux or Unix is creating. So in Unix, the button will appear same. So that's why whether you use Java or Python, you'll see the application as same. So that is what you have to. So ultimately, these GUI widgets are supported by the underlying operating system. So using the interfaces provided by Python or Java, we are calling the widgets that are supported by the underlying operating system. So that's what you have to remember. So button. So already you know button. So so it will have a 3-dimensional interface. So you can see it as a, so it can exist in two states, clicked and So ordinary state. Clicked means when you place your mouse cursor on it and click it, click the mouse cursor, mouse button, sorry, left mouse button. So it will be in on state, otherwise it will be in off state. So, uh, so canvas, see, inside this window, I want to divide this window into multiple sub applications. So, say for example, I want to divide this into two partitions. Here I want to use it for one thing, and here I want to use it for something else. So for this you can use this canvas. So canvas, so what happens is you can divide your window into multiple canvases. So here you can use this canvas to display something, or when you want to accept geometrical shapes or some text from the user that is written by the user, so you can use this canvas. Okay. Say maybe you can ask the user to enter one geometrical shape. Suppose if I enter circle, so you can display, okay, you have entered a circle, you have entered a square, or you have entered a rectangle, something like that. So when you want to accept some geometrical shapes or some other text as user, which is written by him, handwritten, so you can use this canvas. And apart from that, for dividing the window into multiple partitions also we can use canvas. Okay. So this is, so here I can display something, here I can display something. So when you want multiple windows for displaying different data, so here may be some text and here some graphs. So you can create multiple canvases. And then check button. So you know what is the check button? Can you give an example? Windows check button. What is the difference between radio button and check button? See, check button generally will be in square shape. Yeah, when I click on this, a tick will appear. So tick means it is enabled, otherwise it is disabled. So generally check buttons and radio buttons will be used as, say, we will group them together. So 2 or 3, say for example, you want to accept the gender of the user. So we will provide 2 buttons as a group, 2 check buttons or 2 radio buttons. So 2 check buttons means, so we will provide 2, and we will ask the user to select his gender. So radio button will appear in circle shape. So when I click, so here, so a dot, so this is enabled and that is disabled. So entry, what is this entry? See, entry in Java we call them as text box. A box will appear of the specified dimension. You can specify the dimension. So what is the height and what is the width? So suppose if I say 10 by 20, a 10 by 20 this entry box will be displayed. So here user can enter some text. Say you can so this box you can use for asking the user to enter his name. Okay. So whatever name user enters, after that when user presses enter key, okay, so automatically the text that is entered into the entry box will be accepted and will be sent to the application. Okay. So for whenever you want to accept small text as input from the user, you can use entry box. So single line text field. So it can display only one single line. Okay. Frame. So pure container for other widgets. See, as we have discussed, canvases, frames, they are like what we call as, so to partition the window into multiple. So when you want to partition the window, so if you want to accept some text or some geometrical shapes, you can go for frame. If you are not accepting, if you don't want to accept any input, just you want to divide the window into multiple windows, so say into 2 partitions. I can create 2 frames, one frame for one application, another frame for another application. Like that you can use this. So frames and windows, they act like containers. And then if you see label, already we have discussed, it's a static text. So once you create a label on your container, either on your frame or on your what we call as frame or window or canvas, so user cannot edit it. So it's a static text. And then list box. What is this list box? List box, say for example, best example I can give is you want to capture the city in which user is living. So we will display, we will use a list box. When user clicks this, some options will appear. So Hyderabad, Bangalore, Bombay, something like that. So whichever user selects, so this will appear in the text box. So when you want to give some fixed number of choices to the user, and among them if user is supposed to select one, then you can use this list box. So list box is, so whatever choices are available before the user, only from among them he can select one, only one option. So if that option is not available, he cannot select. So menu. So menu, actual list of choices hanging from a menu button that the user can choose from. So I think we are all well versed with this menu, and next one is menu item. So both of them are interrelated. So menu and menu button. So what is this menu button? See, for example, say when you open your Word, MS Word or something like that, first option that you can see is file. So file is menu, menu button. So this belongs to menu button. When user clicks on this menu button, so a drop down menu items will be displayed. So each item is known as, so it's called as menu. So what are the general, when you click on this file, what are the menus that will be displayed? Yeah, first will be new, open, save, yeah, print, yeah, all these options. So this is called as menu button, and each option that is displayed before the user is known as menu. So file is one menu, new is one menu, open is one menu. So two types of menus can be created. One is drop down menu, and there's another name. So do you know? It's called as cascading. Cascading is, so here when you click, so here a cascading window will be opened from sidewards, and so whatever operations user has to perform, you can guide them by using that cascading window. So we will see all these things. So message. So the difference between label and message is when you want to display multiple lines of text, static text for the user, so you have to use message. Label is single line of static text. So whereas message is multiple lines of static text once again. Radio button we have discussed. So scale is also there. So linear slider widget providing an exact value of current setting. So you can provide some scale, okay, something like that. And currently, what is the value? Say for example, if it is from 0 to 15. So what is the current value? Current value is some 7.5. So now we will see all that. Scroll bar also, you know, vertical scroll bar and horizontal scroll bar. So when you want to fit, say when you want to display larger content of data or text before the user, so your application requires a scroll bar. Say for example, you have created 100 GUI widgets. So in the first window, if it is not visible, so then you have to provide a vertical hover, a vertical scroll bar. So using this scroll bar, user can move to the next set of GUI widgets. So text, so multi-line text field with which to collect or display text. So when you want to display, accept multiple lines of text, we can use this. So text. So earlier we have discussed one more. What is that? So message is single line. So when you want to accept multiple lines of text, you can use this text. So top level. So top level similar to frame but provides a separate window container. Okay, we will see all these things, some examples for all these widgets. So prominently, these are the widgets that can be used for creating the GUI applications. Label, button, okay. So entry, combo box, check button, sorry, radio button, menu bar, spin box is also there. So spin box is for showing the status when you are downloading a file. So I think you can see the status of that file. So 10% downloaded, 20% downloaded. That status you can show by using spin box. So scroll text, so that is multi-line text. So we will see. These are some of different uh, packages. They support different types of GUI widgets. Okay. Now we'll see. So already we have seen. So I told you. So the same window, if it is displayed in, if it is created in Unix and if it is created in Windows, so the look and feel, how they appear to the user is somewhat different. Okay. Now you can see the size of the window here in Unix is small when you compare with the window size in Windows. Okay. This application, when you run on a Linux environment and when you run on Windows environment, this is the output. You can check for yourself. You write the same program, this program which we have written earlier, and then you try to run it on Linux and you try to run it on Windows. So the look and feel will be somewhat different. The color here, if you see, this is called as the title bar of the window. The title bar of the window will be displayed in dark color, whereas here the same color will be used both for the display area and the title bar. So this is title bar and this is display area of the window. So both you can see the same color here, but here it will be different. Now here only one closing button will come in the Windows, whereas here minimize, maximize and close buttons. So somewhat there will be difference. Uh, okay. Now let us see how to create dimensions, or say you want to create the some particular GUI widget using a special say you want to have specify dimensions for your widget. So this is how you have to do it. Okay. Now you see, so I'm creating a label. So label. So what is the top level window name? Window. So text, what is the text you want to display in that label? So Edureka, this is the one of the training portal. So from that portal I have taken. So Edureka, and then now you want to display this label using your own font and using your own size. Okay, this is what is this 50 font size. So if you want to fix your own font and your own size for your font, so now these are the parameters. So first, in which window you want to display the label. Now what is the text that you want to display? So what is the font type that you want to use for displaying the label, and what is the font size? So font Arial, and I want to display it in bold. So what is the size? 50. Now next, what is the size of the label that you want to display? The size of the label. So 350 into 200. What is this 350? 350 is the width and 200 is the height. So that will be the label size that will be fixed. Now, what is the type of the layout manager or geometry manager that you want to use? So I want to use grid. So how many rows and how many columns? 0 rows and 0 columns. So first columns, then rows. Columns is equal to 0, rows is equal to 0. So when you use this, now what is the output that will be displayed? Now you can see the output like this. So Edureka label will be displayed using Arial font, bold, with 50 size. Okay. So, and label size would be, so 350 width and 200 height. So take down that program. So include it into the previous program. So first set of statements are common. Import statement, creating the top level window, and then creating the GUI widgets. So only one widget we have created. What is that? Label. And then we have specified size by using geometry for that GUI widget. So whenever you want to specify the size, so you have to. So what is the size here? For which component we are specifying the size? It is for window. Window dot geometry. Window. What is the window size? So window size is, so this is 350 and this is 200. Now we are using this grid layout manager or geometry manager. So we are specifying 0 rows and 0 columns. So I think entire program, 1 minute. Okay. Huh? Okay. So just one more program. You see this, how to create a button. So first statement is, as usual, importing the Kinter package. Second, so you have to create an instance for this tkinter. So tkinter.tk, so that is the high level window. So we are calling it as top. Now we want to create functionality for this button. So I want to create a button in my window and I want to create some functionality for this button. What is the functionality? When that button is clicked, I want to close the window. That is the functionality that we want to create. Now you see, this is the code you have to write. So tkinter dot, so in this button is the name of the class in tkinter package. So we are creating an instance of this button. What are the what are the parameters? So top, where do you want to place this button? In the top. So what is this top? Top is the already created window. So in the already created window, we are creating this button. So what is the text that I want to display on the button? So I want to display hello world. So text is equal to the label that you want to display on the button. You have to give it as the second parameter. Now if you want to provide some functionality, this is how you have to. So command is equal to top quit. So quit is the predefined function that is available in Python. What is its purpose? Whenever you call this quit, the application will be exited. You will exit from the application. So top button. So what is the only event that it can respond to? Button click. So when that button is clicked, so I am telling that top quit function is to be top. What is top? The top level window. So I want to exit from the top level window. That is the functionality. So quit.pack. So quit is the name of the button instance. So quit.pack. So what is generally pack? What it will do is it will place the button on the top in the center. Okay, top center. So and then you are invoking this main loop. So now you'll see this application. So when you bring your mouse cursor onto this button and when you click on that button, so this command will, so this is the event handler code that we have written. So what we are telling, whenever that button is clicked, so quit. So now window application will be quit. So once again, so now you will not see this output anymore. So this window will get closed. So now just another way of placing. Say first I want to place one label, then followed by button. So this is how you can place. So just one example. So button, I'm creating a button. So where I want to place this button in the window. So text is equal to enter. So this text is equal to enter. So bt dot grid, 1 column, 0 rows. Now after this, if you try to place, so first if you try to place one label then followed by a button. So because you are using this grid layout manager or geometrical manager, how it places the widgets. So in the row wise and column wise. So this is, maybe you can take it as 0th row, 0th column. In 0th row, 0th column, first if you add label, label will be displayed. Next if you add a button, so button will be displayed in the next column. So again this, if you create one more button, it will be added in the 0th row. Which column? This is column 0, column 1, next one is column 2. So when you want to place the widgets row wise and column wise, so this grid you can use. Okay, we will discuss in the next class. So please try to add this. You take this code and you try to add this to the plain program. The plain program is wherein you have created the top level window. To that you try to add this text. Okay, we will discuss about this in the next class. So this is actual event handler. So we will show.